When you're compositing a foreground and background plate, the concept is to try to get them to match. That's why you're compositing them. You want them to look like they belong together. Well, a lot of times when you're shooting, you don't have the reference of the color palette that the background was shot or vice versa. And sometimes you just have an element of the foreground without the background. Such as in this case, I have this image of the girl is being shot outside with a last-to-light background and using sunlight to light her. She's a little overexposed compared to the background plate that I have of the Eiffel Tower. Well, I want to take her to Paris, so the best way to do that is to first start with key light, and let's get her composited. So I start with just making my first selection. Then I go to my screen mat. I see there's a little bit of noise here, so I'm going to pull down my white clip, get that out of there. Then I can go back to my final result, and it's nice and clean. The hairline looks great here. Everything looks really good in here. The only problem is she is off color here. She's a little bit washed out. She's a little too overexposed. So I'm going to twirl this up. I'm going to use the foreground color correction right inside of key light. So I click the Enable Color Correction, and the first thing I'm going to do is pull down some of the brightness. She's a little overexposed, so I'm just going to pull that down, and then I'm going to bring up the contrast just ever so slightly to try to bring up the shadows to match the contrast that's in this image. And then I go to my hue, and I can scroll through that left or right, and I can see what temperature I want to start shifting this. So I want this to go a little bit to the right and go a little bit warmer, a little more of the yellows and oranges. And again, it's oversaturated, so it's a little obnoxious. I just bring this back down to lesser amount. And then I want to see what it was the before and after. I just click this Enable Color Correction on and off, and I can see the changes that I made. And so I can keep modifying that, but my settings are all right here, and I only have to do it right in key light while I'm doing the initial keying, so I don't have to add a bunch of other plugins or anything if I don't want to. If this does the trick, go ahead and let that do the trick, because that's just a really quick and easy way of accessing that matching of your foreground and background color palettes.